Welcome to High Infidelity, the best cheating videos on YouTube. If you enjoy this content, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. Now let's get into the video.
My entire family despises my fiancé, and I have to choose between them and her. Is there something I am not seeing here, and is my fiancé manipulating me? Plus update. My fiancé and I met while I was at a bad period in my life. We hit it off right away and had a whirlwind relationship. I proposed after 3 months, and we're now engaged. My family never seemed to approve of her or especially like her. They are all well educated and work in professional positions, but she is a college dropout who works as a hostess. She is launching her own business, which I am sponsoring. My sister-in-law and brother were the source of the trouble. They advised me that 3 months was too short and that I should date her for a longer period of time. They also hinted that she's a gold digger, though they never used the phrase. They stated this since she doesn't contribute financially. My fiancé dislikes my SIL because she is wealthy and accomplished, and he believes. My fiancé was not invited to a family wedding, which exacerbated the situation. She is of a different ethnicity, thus she accused my family of racism in front of my parents. My parents never stated an opinion on her, but she was a source of contention for them. My SIL and brother contributed to this by informing them of my financial donations to her businesses, as well as other specifics regarding her connection. My parents have told me that I'm making the incorrect choice. When I informed my fiancé, she reacted angrily. She messaged my sister-in-law, telling her that she is a bad person for attempting to destroy our relationship. My SIL informed my parents once again, and they have refused to pay for and attend the wedding. My fiancé claims her family would welcome me with open arms and that we may marry at City Hall. She accused my parents of being snobbish, claiming that they only like my SIL because she is educated and of the same race as they are. I adore my fiancé, but I get the impression that she is attempting to persuade me into severing all relations. I'm at a loss for what to do, and I don't want to hit a dead end with my family. Any suggestions would be much appreciated. Update. So we split up. Many of the responses reflected what my family was saying, but the outside viewpoint cemented it in my mind. My parents and I get along well, and my SIL is one of my closest friends. To clarify from the prior article, I never believed they were racist or snobbish. That was an impression my ex instilled in me. The breakup was a shambles. When I informed her that I believed we were moving too quickly and that it wasn't working, she burst into tears and threatened to kill herself. For the first time, I could plainly see the manipulation, and I simply informed her that it was beyond my pay grade and that she should get professional assistance. Now, for all the money I put into her company. Well, that was a mistake, and I'm simply going to chalk it up to a sum cost. It did harm my pockets, but trying to recover from it would just entangle new webs. Thank you very much for all of your advice. It saved me from making a costly error. Story 2. Dating abusive girl for 2 years, lost my job, and she broke up with me. Hello guys, this summer, my ex-26 female and I were preparing to marry, but she chose to call it quits. We've been dating for 2 years, and I've done my best throughout that period. Unfortunately, our relationship occurred during the pandemic, and I was put off from my job after just 7 months of dating. I was miserable because I couldn't be the guy she deserved, and it was eating at me on the inside, and my self-esteem plummeted as a result. I was still behaving normally, yet the phrase acting accurately characterizes what was going on inside of me. Around the same time, she began to behave colder. She often reminded me that I'm fortunate to have such a lovely girlfriend. She began pointing out that I'm too old for her, occasionally making fun of my physical characteristics, stating that I should straighten my teeth, correct my nose, and so on, which made me feel even worse. I attempted to mend things by giving her 200 flowers on Valentine's Day, and she said that her ex just gave her 1 rose, but it was more romantic than what I did. On our anniversary, I brought her to the greatest hotel I could afford in the Dominican Republic, and she claimed the location was beautiful, but she was bored with me. Since I wasn't working, I made all of our meals, went to the coffee shop every morning to bring her the hazelnut coffee she enjoys before she wakes up, and after her exercises, I got smoothie delivery even though I wasn't there, just to demonstrate that I care. I promise I did. Every pleasant gesture I made had the opposite impact on her, and she became even more angry. One night, I asked her whether she was still thinking about marrying me, to which she replied, "Stop pestering me, I'm watching something." She was watching a movie, which crushed my heart. It wasn't anything huge, but I felt so small at the time. I just walked away and did not contact her again. Enough is enough, I determined. I focused on my profession and informed my parents that the wedding had been canceled. They were upset. She recognized what had occurred and attempted to mend things by calling me several times, but it was too late for me. I abandoned her after 3 months and joined FOM as a software engineer in Europe. When she contacted to return my belongings, she inquired as to what I was up to, and I informed her of my move and new work. That night, she contacted me, saying she misses me. Funny. I wished her well and informed her that it was my responsibility and my faults that had resulted in this conclusion, so she shouldn't blame her. To my astonishment, she concurred and said that I might have been a better partner, reassuring me that she did not deserve a second chance. This relationship left a scar on me, and I still feel inadequate at times. I don't trust women as much as I used to, and I've become more cynical as I've realized that possibly only your parents will love you unconditionally, everyone else will love you for something. Story 3. 12 years openly married with children and husband convinced me he would never cheat. My spouse came into my life at a moment in my life when I had given up on relationships. I intended to party and hang out with whoever I pleased and to do whatever I pleased. I had just left a toxic relationship, in which I had been attempting a polyamorous open relationship. It didn't work. So when I met my spouse, he told me he wanted to have a kid. I informed him that I expected us to have an open relationship. We agreed and set off on our excursions. I slept with a few individuals, and he slept with a few as well. We had foursomes, and we switched and had affairs. We spoke about it the whole time. Communication was essential in our lives. I became pregnant with our first kid around a year into our relationship. Begin the process of closing our open partnership. For obvious reasons, this was a joint choice. We tied the knot. We raised a family and built a house. We worked hard to make our career pathways more reliable. We did well. We would discuss the state of our relationship on occasion, whether to open it or simply to explore things. We gossiped about our stupid romances on grocery store clerks and gas station attendants. We headed to adult clubs for some voyeuristic entertainment. We were steadfast, honest, and understanding. I told him for years, reassuring him over it again that having a girlfriend, a pal, or a one-night stand was okay. I even made light of happy endings in massage parlors. My only need was that he first discuss it with me. He insisted that I was sufficient, that the concept of another person was alien to him, that he doesn't have time to date or with anybody. He convinced me that he would not cheat or even accept my invitation to go out. I became sober from booze sometime in the midst of all of this. This resulted in a reservation for which I was unprepared. I became practically and learned that I was heavily influenced by my drinking. This was plainly a source of contention in our relationship, but it was not a crucial issue. I confided in him since he is my closest friend, and he made me feel secure and understood. He gave me room while I relived my trauma. He was kind, understanding, and patient with me. We had again, but not as much as when we were 23 and childless. Last year, at COVID, we discussed having my tubes tied, because we already had a gorgeous boy and didn't expect to have another. However, elective operations were unavailable, and I fell pregnant with our second child before any firm preparations could be made. Hormones and pregnant weariness naturally reduced my drive, and I felt rather melancholy. Because his love language is touch, I made an effort to be present when he needed me. But his libido is hyperactive, and mine libido had a little window of opportunity when he left for work in the morning. I was able to read his body language, and I wasn't as at ease with his touch. I'd brush his hands away from me. I was in no condition to have after gaining 40 pounds during pregnancy and having a rather painful birth. Nonetheless, he began at 6 weeks PP, and it was unpleasant. I waited another 2 minutes, and we were able to be intimate, albeit it still ached. He was sitting with the infant 2 days ago when he told me he needed to speak to me. I assumed it had something to do with his job or family. Nope. He claims he cheated on me a month ago, just after our 12th anniversary and 1 month after our kid was born. He slept with a worker he specifically sought out. This is entirely unexpected. When I asked him why he did it, he said he didn't know but that he was anxious and insecure. These two feelings are not foreign to him. He deals with them on a regular basis. I asked him why he hadn't come earlier to speak to me about it. I questioned why, given that he is free to go out with others with the one restriction of communication. He told me he used protection the second time we were intimate postpartum, but he and I didn't. So he jeopardized not only his own health, but also the health and well-being of myself and my kid. We're having STI testing and talking about it. I have no intention of leaving him, so that idea is out of the question. I'm simply shocked that with all that freedom, after painstakingly establishing limits and channels of communication, he would screw up this badly.